Hey everybody, today I want to talk about what we're going to use for fertilizer this year. We often get questions about how do you get everything so green and lush? Well, listen up. This year we'll be using 4 different types of fertilizer, and I got my little cheat sheet here so I don't miss anything for you. 3 of them are granular fertilizers and 1 of them is a liquid fertilizer, similar to like a Miracle-Gro type thing. For our granular fertilizers, we'll be using triple 13, that's 13, 13, 13, and we're going to use 8, 24, 24, and we have a calcium nitrate that we're going to use, which is a 15.500. Now we'll be using the fertilizers on different crops at different stages, and the liquid fertilizer is probably going to be more for the seedlings, and when the seedlings are just transplanted, that liquid fertilizer's got some micronutrients in it as well, but it's a 17-5-17 liquid fertilizer. And on all the other crops, we'll have a pre-plant fertilizer regime that we put down before we plant 2 to 3 weeks ahead of time. And we'll also have side dressings after we plant. So let's go crop by crop and talk about what fertilizers we're going to use for pre-plant and what fertilizers we're going to use for our side dressings. We'll go ahead and try to start these kind of in order of how the season's going to go. So we're going to try to grow out some greens and lettuce early in the year. We're going to start off fertilizing those with that 17-5-17 liquid fertilizer in trays. And when we transplant those, we'll put that same liquid fertilizer on them for maybe about a week or 2. And then hopefully they'll be tapping what we would have put down before then is a pre-plant fertilizer of triple 13. We'll side dress those every 3 weeks probably until they're ready to harvest. Next, let's talk about potatoes. So the potatoes, we'll put down 8, 24, 24 before they're planted, and we'll probably side dress them 1 time with a little bit of calcium nitrate. And sweet corn takes a pretty good bit of fertilizer. It's a heavy nitrogen user. We're going to put down pre-plant triple 13 in the row. We're also going to side dress with calcium nitrate 2 to 3 times over the life of growing out that corn. So beans and peas don't really require a lot of fertilization. For our beans this year, we use an 8, 24, 24. And the peas, since we're going to come behind a crop with our peas, we're going to plant after the corn, which has already been heavily fertilized. We won't fertilize our peas this year unless they, for some reason, come up and they're just not thriving. Then we might look to fertilize them. For our tomatoes and peppers this year, we'll use an 8, 24, 24, and we'll be side dressing those with calcium nitrate 2 or 3 times. We'll be planting squash and cucumber, and those are both going to be pre-plant fertilized with 8, 24, 24, and we'll side dress with calcium nitrate as needed. So we're going to try cantaloupes this year for sure. We'll probably try some watermelons. We're going to use a triple 13 pre-plant on those and side dress with calcium nitrate. So we already talked about peas, and peas are not going to be fertilized because they're already coming behind a crop that has been fertilized. They don't need a lot of fertilization. They'll be just fine without it. The other crop that doesn't need a lot of fertilization is okra. It's going to be coming behind another crop as well, so we won't do any pre-plant fertilization with okra. We'll go ahead and get those in the ground, see how they're performing, and if we need to add a side dress to the okra to really kind of push them a little bit more, we'll go ahead and do that. Okra also is a long crop. It keeps producing for a long time, so it continually needs to be fed. So we'll kind of do that as needed. For our sweet potatoes this year, we're going to use an 8, 24, 24. We're going to side dress with calcium nitrate as needed until those vines get kind of cover everything up and we can't get to them. Now, we didn't always use all these combinations of different fertilizers at different percentages. There was a time where we just used one thing, and it was a slow-released granular fertilizer that there wasn't much risk of burning anything, over-fertilizing, or any of that. So if you're looking for just kind of a one simple set it and forget it, I would use a slow-release fertilizer, and we used to use Osmocote. So Osmocote slow-release should be locally available at your plant nurseries.